YouTube? It's Jessie Lee. You can call me #Bosslee, and I hope you love the video you're about to see. I'm pretty sure you will, because it's always content over here. I want to tell you about a couple other things, specifically one that you can also get some more value from. And all you need to do, and you can do it now, just pause this video, is go ahead and text YouTube to 844-277-9762. I'm going to be really upping the text game, and it's literally me texting you back. So if you want to have a more one-on-one conversation with me, enjoy the video, subscribe, comment below, and make sure you text YouTube again to 844-277-9762. All right, but most people spend no energy managing their lives, and I want us to kind of have this idea of you want to make your life, not just your job, the best it can be, right? If you make your life not just your job, your career, your business the best it can be, then the rest of your life kind of starts to work itself out. And so people focus on what they think will give them the greatest return. And so it's easy sometimes to think, oh my gosh, my greatest return is always, always, always in my business. I gotta say, I love that with all these champs and you know, Luna, etc., saying, hey, you know what? I actually needed to focus on taking a bubble bath. I love that, right? Maybe our lives are actually gonna fall apart if we're trying to make them all fall together at the same time. Maybe we need to slow down a little bit to speed up. I think everyone on this Zoom is guilty of that every once in a while, for sure. And so if you're so focused on everything being around the business and not worried about what is the vision of my life, where do I want my life to be fulfilled, then we start to pigeonhole ourselves, right? We start to put ourselves in situations where we're not happy and we're not sure what we're doing things for. Does that make sense? And then we start getting frustrated because we're not growing as fast. Or then we get frustrated because we're comparing our businesses. Well, the great thing about that is that, you know, Kayla, you don't have the same life as Marsha. And you don't have the same life as Jamie Lynn. And you don't have the same life as Jenny Elizabeth. You've got Kayla's life, right? And so it can be, if we're comparing just businesses and we're not remembering that we're actually trying to put together a system around our life, that's where things sometimes start to fall apart instead of falling together, because you're not drawing out a blueprint before your life. You're just drawing out the blueprint for your career. Does that make sense? And I think we get guilty of that, and it's, you know, I'm really thankful it came up on quite a few champ Zooms yesterday. This is a hard team to be part of. It's easy, but that's what makes it hard, right? Because it's hard when you see, you know, Leanne crushing it, and you're sitting there like, what is wrong with me? Right? Well, you're actually still crushing it. It's just that we play the comparison game. I got a text from Brooke last night, made me cry. She says she was crying. I don't believe her, because I was crying harder than she was. I'm just kidding. It's not a competition, although everything in life is. She texted me a screenshot of her Pulse app where she's got all these little trophies listed in a row. Right? She's got all, and she's like, I have not seen this in my Pulse app for months. Oh my God, Bob's giving her a hug. Oh, hi, Bob, we love you. Okay? Like, she's like, I've been waiting for this for months. I haven't had updates like this in my app forever. And a couple of you actually texted me something similar, but she mentioned, I'm an effing awesome leader. I'm like, well, I'm glad somebody said it. Lord, we've only been saying it for the last 100 months, you little turd, right? We all know that. We all know that. And I'm telling you, she would have never felt the need to say that if there wasn't some level of comparison, okay? And so I just want you to think about that, because she's forgetting the fact that she's still a nurse going to work in hospitals full of COVID-19 right now. And she's forgetting she's a mom and a mom of 4 and a wife. She's forgetting she's got animals running around her house. She forgets she gets a bonus baby once a week. Like, she's forgetting all of these things, and you don't forget those things unless you're comparing yourself to everybody else's life. So I get it. You want to be pro champ too, Sydney and Brooke and Jamie Lynn and Amanda Hodgemahalis and Ash Miller and Kayla Hahn and Megan George and Whitney Gebhardt and Elizabeth Lowers and David Verostegui and Leanne Cook Industrious and Shauna Stevenson and Paz Johnson and Jenny Lynn Curry. Like, I get it, Stephanie Holman. You want to be pro champ. Look, you will be. But you have to understand we are literally living different lives. It's okay. It's all good. We all have different things that we are taking care of as well. So, next thing, and I know y'all know this, but listen, life's not a dress rehearsal, so we've got to have systems around stuff. Okay? There's no warm up for life. There's no dress rehearsal for life. And I think sometimes that's how people treat it. Okay? Some of us are trying to go on stage cold sometimes. How many of you loved the training with Brant Pinvidic the other day? I'm going to get him on a champ soon because I think it needs to be, I think it's an even higher level conversation to break some stuff down because we were losing the rank nothings after a while. And I rank nothings sounds really rude, but you know what I mean? They're just partners. They're not yet even rank 1. They were kind of like, what is happening? I was like getting all hot and excited. Like I was like, this is what I can feel myself leveling up. But I felt like the overall, like maybe even a rising champs Zoom. I think maybe 150 people would be great. But I think so many times we've just gone into it and we haven't had the system around it. And so that Zoom to me, that training to me really kind of put into perspective how much we need to make sure, that we are taking the time, for lack of a better word, to rehearse. Right? We're taking the time to rehearse. We're taking the time to get world class at something, and it allows us then to plug everything into the system. So this is a quote from Fred Allen. You only live once, but if you work it right, once is enough. I'm sure you've heard that quote before. I love that quote. I love it. I love it. I love it. So Shauna and Matt did a 4-minute live. How did it go? Was it awesome? Yeah. I know.
It was really good. It felt very strange though, like going from 45-minute product lives, because we used to tell our whole story, to 4 minutes. I was like, what?
Yeah. But I love it because there's a time and a place for that, right? There's a time and a place for a storytelling live, and there's a time and a place for a here's the science behind it live, and here there's a time and a place for a maybe even whatever. But that's the whole point, is those lives we're trying to pitch and we're trying to get as much traction as possible, and we are falling in love with the little sayings and stuff like he said. So I love the system around that. All right. So let's make sure that in order to develop all of this, we are depending on it. So instead of saying we're going to develop strategies, let's make sure we actually depend on these systems. And I think our team overall is really good at this in general. I think we can do this a lot more powerfully also in general when it comes to our businesses. Because most of our accomplishments in life, they do come easier when we approach them strategically. So it comes easier when you say, I want to hit rank 7 this month, or rank 8 this month, or rank whatever you want to hit this month. And starting today, you reverse engineer it. Like, what is the system around it? I find that some people think that they can just kind of fall into something and it'll be easy breezy, but that's obviously not true. And rarely do those haphazard approaches to everything succeed. And I know you know that. The people who say, oh, I'm going to hit champ. And it's like, okay, what's the plan? They're like, I don't know, but I'm going to hit champ. Well, how's that working out for you? I'm scrolling. I'm looking for your name. I don't see them to see you on the champ Zoom, okay? Like, we need to have some kind of system around it. We need people to know their numbers. We need people to understand everything in that system. I'll tell you, for me, I found out a system around reading books. When I read, I have to have a highlighter and I have to take notes, because I started realizing that I was just sitting there and I was reading and the words were going in my brain and then falling out my ear holes. Like, I was not actually absorbing anything. And as soon as I started taking the time to highlight and then write notes down, it's like everything stuck in my head. Like, one of the most impactful books I read all year long was Stillness is Key by Ryan Holiday. And I know it's because I sat there with an iPad and the book and the highlighter. I'd highlight and then I would take notes. I'd highlight and I'd take notes. I'd highlight, I'd take notes, and I would literally write this down, by the way. This is so good for those of you who are training your teams. I would literally write down training ideas as I read. So instead of just hearing it, like even maybe right now, you're hearing the information, but maybe outside from it, maybe you write out little branch notes of like, this is where I can train my team on how to hit goals for the month. This is how I can train my team to add more people to Simple Proven Results. This is how I can train my team or my customers or my Facebook followers on XYZ. If we actually write it down, it's those actual systems on making sure you are you're able to take the impact out of the book and put it on the paper. So I think, I'll actually read to you what John Maxwell kind of talks about, because I think it's powerful. So he says he reads 4 books every month. He picks 2 he can go through really quickly and 2 he really wants to dig through. And then he said the system for capturing and filing all the good stories, quotes, and articles he reads is if he finds an article he likes, he rips it out of the magazine or journal. He writes at the top of the page the topic it should be filed under, and then it gets filed. And so same thing as he reads a book, when he finds a quote or a story he likes, he marks on the page, he writes the topic it should be filed under, and he writes the page number on where it can be found inside the front cover of the book. I really like that. That's why I'm sharing it with you, right? And then when he's done reading the book, he has an assistant where he literally will hand the book to the assistant, and the assistant will photocopy everything, just of the parts where he really likes it. So that, to me, like, I like the book number idea. I don't even know about giving it to an assistant to do any filing thing. That's too crazy for me. But absolutely, the cover of a book, if you were to write down page 25, training on systems, page 74, training on emotional intelligence, page 88, story about JFK walking around the back of the White House to calm himself down during Cuba Bay of Pigs crisis. Like, whatever, I love that. I love that. I think that's so powerful. And just think about it. If you had a bunch of books sitting around, right, and you're like, I need to do a training, and you open the cover of your book, and you're like, oh, holy smokes. Okay. Woo. All right, here we go. We're going to go into your finances on loss aversion. Like, you don't have to freak out anymore about what you're going to train on. It's literally sitting in front of you. And I don't say this to throw tea or shade on anybody, but I got to tell you, there are some training calls that I get on, and I'm like, did anybody read a book in like the last 5 months? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, there's nothing new here. I'm wondering, like, can somebody grab a book? What are we doing here, right? And so I think that as long as you are still reading and then actually taking some of these systems around it, your team will be such a more powerfully trained team. Your team will look like, there's a reason. I understand, like, it's the Empire and people might get excited to see me on Wednesday nights. But guys, there's a reason why people show up on our team trainings the way they do and they're as engaged as they are. This isn't a Jessie Lee thing. They get on there and they know something's going to get thrown down. They know it's not just a rah, we're doing so great, OMG, today let's talk about how good we are. Like, they know they're going to school for a half hour of that call at least. And so I want you to think about how you can turn that into a system for your team. And I think that by doing that, you are putting yourself in a much higher position and a faster position to succeed and to have more people want to show up to your trainings because they're so high level, right? And I don't mean high level like scare them all off, freak them out. I mean high level like, oh, I have to get on Ash's Zooms. Like she must be reading a lot lately or something, because every single week it's something new, it's something profound. I really feel like I can't miss one of those Zooms. So I want you to think about that, because of course then it also elevates you. It's going to make, I don't want to say, oh, it'll make you feel better, but it'll also make you feel better, right? Because you're like, ooh, people like to show up on my Zooms, yay. So just kind of think about that, right? All right, so let's see. I'm gonna skip over this because otherwise I'm rambling a little much, I feel like, but I mean like in a good way. This is why you can still also read the book if you want to. All right. So effective systems. And I want to say this because, like I said at the beginning of this call, if you weren't able to be on time, it's totally fine. I know it's a random time, like it's not our normal Zoom time. But I will say that I wanted to teach this because it wasn't just you, Jenny Lynn. You do not need to apologize. And you either, Ash. I know. This is not our normal time at all. So it's all good. That was not like a side shade. That was like we called a random call. Like, it's totally fine. I'm not upset if people aren't on here. We are going to do the Empire Games again at the end of this month is what I was talking about, but I want to make it even tighter. I want to keep a better system around it. And we have some really cool collaborative ideas already that have come from the beginning of the call, but I wanted to train on this so we have a bigger picture idea. So effective systems take the big picture into account. Okay, so we need to have the end in mind. Okay, we need to have the end in mind. Where, what is our outcome for the Empire Games? Can we do 3 million this month? I mean, we did 2.3, just so everyone knows. That's absolutely absurd. Like, holy smokes, right? Can this be the month that we do 3, right? So if that's our big picture end of goal, end of month, what's it going to take? Can we then reverse engineer systems to make sure we get Melissa Hartman to 8, we get Brittany Anderson to 8, we get Luna to 3, 1-star, 2-star. I don't know what her goal is. Shauna Stevenson to 7, 3. I don't know. What is she going for 9 for all I know? I don't know, okay? She's aggressive. I'm just pulling things and numbers out of my hat, okay? Like, Amanda Hodge-Mahalis to, everybody really to 7, and then who, God knows what, right? So the spreadsheet. Just message me, Brittany. I'm not going to remember that. So make sure that no matter what, we always have a system developed that will help us achieve the big picture, okay? Because unhappiness is not knowing what we want and then killing ourselves to get it. Ooh! That's a good one, right? Unhappiness is not knowing what we want and killing ourselves to get it, because it's not enough to be busy. Because if you're busy planning, busy reading, busy going to conferences, not that you're going to any conferences, right? But you're not targeted on the areas that are essential to your business, you're not helping yourself, right? Like, you're killing yourself trying to figure out what, it's gonna drive you nuts. So what is your big picture, and in what areas must you grow in order to achieve your person? Your person. That is not a word that I meant to say. Your purpose. What is your purpose? My head, my mouth, my everything. I'm so tired. So what are the themes you want this month in your business? Where do you want to go with this business? Okay. What do you have to improve? I've been saying it constantly, but the different rank level of you is going to take a different version of you. A different version of Sydney has to show up for Pro Champ. She knows it. Just like a different version of me has to show up to hit Legend. I know it. Right? So who does it have to be? Who do you have to be? What does your purpose have to be in order to turn into that person? Right? So what must you do? The next thing is, since I'm mentioning Empire Games, is effective systems are going to make use of priorities. So what is the most valuable use of your time right now? And I will tell you, that's why I'm I know it's a hour of your life every whatever day of the week we end up doing these. Okay, I understand that. But I also understand that this is one of those priorities that if you are on this champ only Zoom, you're being spoken to at a much higher level. Our conversations before we get started and everything, you have to develop your skill set in order to become the leader that you want. You have to. Brian says it every 3 minutes, but priorities are never in conflict, right? And again, this was a weird time call. So again, no side shade. That was not this. But I'm saying as a general statement, what are we prioritizing? Because I understand we're all very busy right now. We're probably doing more Zooms than ever. But make sure we're also filling our cup, because from everything I understand, I am a better leader when my cup is filled. I am a better leader when I get spoken to in a high level. I had two phone calls with Sarah Centrella, Melissa's homie. And I was talking, and she was like, you don't understand. All I do is I coach people, and it's so good to be on the phone with you. I feel like I'm talking to somebody that's just building me up. My energy is so filled when I get off of a call with you. I'm like, hey, I feel the same way, sister. It feels so good. And so for some of you, maybe this hour is your system of the week where you just get your cup filled. Maybe you just feel the energy again because you're being poured into. You don't have to pour into people for 1 hour a week when all you're doing is coaching, teaching, training, mentoring outside of this. I don't know exactly why you show up, but I do know that by making this hour of our time each week a priority will make you a better leader. You will rank advance faster than the people who don't show up. I know I shouted out to Luna on her Zoom yesterday, but I know how busy she is. We all do. We're all busy. And I can do it with a lot of you. It's not just Luna. She just tit rank 8, so I'm thinking about it. But she's on all the trainings. I'll just shout out to this. Luna is on, I can always count on seeing Luna's face. I always see Brittany's face. I always see Melissa's face. Straight up. Like, I always know I'm gonna see their faces. It's like I can look in a crowd, a sea of people, and there's some, I mean, it's not just them, of course, but I'm like, oh, I know they'll be on. And I don't know if part of it is like their mental health retreat from not having to coach people, but there's probably some system to that madness of like, okay, I don't have to train for an hour. I'm gonna sit back, I'm gonna take notes, and I'm gonna be there. All right, I get to hear her energy, her voice, and I'm just, whoo, thank you, Jesus, right? I just kind of want you to think about that, all right? So what systems do you need to put into place to help you maintain your priorities? This goes back to the VA conversation of last week. And what people do you need to give responsibility to so you can be helped? Also, back to that last week, I got a photo from Luna last night. She sent me a photo of folded laundry. And she said, look at my folded laundry. Patrick didn't fold that. Oh my gosh, thank you. Right? And so again, just another example of I say to do something and that Luna Ashley, my Lord. All right, so the next system to make, the next way to track an effective system is make sure you're including some kind of measurement. Okay? And so if you can't understand it, okay, if you can't measure something, you can't understand it. And if you can't understand it, you can't control it. And if you can't control it, you can't improve it. And systems are there so that we can continue to improve things, right? Imagine where you would be if, okay, repeat it. Okay, measurement leads to control, right? And if you can't measure something, you can't understand it. If you can't understand it, you can't control it. And if you can't control it, you can't improve it, right? Like, where would we be if we didn't know how many people it takes to get to rank 7, rank 6, rank 8, rank 9, rank 10? If you did not know what the sales were, then you can't measure it, you can't control it, you can't improve it. So we've got to make sure we have systems around everything so we can continue to measure it. And I will tell you something, and this is a fact. When people know that their work is being measured, their productivity increases. How many of you, when you sent me that list of names last week, part of our system, by week, I don't know why, but it was like yesterday. You sent me the list of names yesterday, the day before, and I messaged all those people. How many of you got a message from somebody that started doing more because they knew that they were being watched? Guys, I'm just telling you, when something is measured, when you put a system for measurement in there, people know. People start acting differently. And I know people went nuts because my Instagram stories of, oh my God, it was absolutely crazy. So measurement does make a difference. It's going to enable you then, of course, to set your goals, evaluate your process, judge your results, evaluate your results, and get more results, period. Okay? All right. So I'm nowhere near done this training. I don't know what to do because I have another call in 4 minutes. Mercy. Okay, I'm just gonna go through a couple quick things, and then maybe we'll have to continue this section again next week or something. But I will just say, let's make sure we're organized. And I know that might sound kind of crazy because it's coming from me, but my life is way more organized than it looks like. Right? I do have systems around everything. I am an organized chaos. That is what I am. And so I really suggest that you think about that. Think about organizing your life more. Like, how many of you go into a Ross? Okay, Brittany Anderson. How many of you go into a Ross, right? And I can't stand Ross because I can't find anything. I know it's there somewhere, but I can't find anything, okay? However, I am a fan of like a TJ Maxx. I feel like I know where stuff is more often, okay? So you take your time to look for the coupons and your 17-cent jeans. I cannot, all right? And so for me, I think that the number one time waster for most people is they're looking for things that are lost, right? And so their business is kind of all over the place because they don't know what they're looking for. So can we get things more organized? Can we have our systems more organized? I don't know if it's a Trello board. I know it's okay. We're almost done this part of the training. It's fine. I'm not going to keep kicking them off. I'll have to restart the Zoom anyway because I did kick people off, then they're not going to be able to get on. So whatever. But I will say, I don't know if we need like a Trello board or something like that to keep things more organized in general. I don't even know how Trello boards work, but it's a word that Alexander's used a few times in the house and I pay for it every month. So I don't know what it is, but it's a thing. And so I don't know. They're cool, Melissa Hartman says. But the whole point of that is that being organized with your system, it is going to give you a sense of power and also a sense of consistency. Right? Because I know you know this, but the secret of your success is found in your daily routine. I can look at your calendar and I can tell you if you're on track for rank whatever, simply based on your schedule, simply based on getting around more people. How are you designing your life? How are you putting your life together and structuring everything around? Because I will tell you that everything in your life needs that system. Everything does, and certainly our businesses, right? So just remember our big picture. I'm gonna go over a couple closing thoughts. Remember to think big picture. Will the systems we are working on in our lives help us reach our big picture goals? And I know we know this, but I really believe the Empire has the best systems in all of network marketing. I truly believe we are so close to perfection, it's kind of scary, right? The next thing is your priorities. You can write that down. Is your system consistent? Hi, Wookie Lee. Is your system consistent with your values and your commitments? Measurement, we said, right? Does your system give you a tangible way to judge if you've succeeded? Application. Does your system have a built-in bias towards taking action? Ours do, right? Ours do. Organization. Does your system make better use of your time than what you're doing now? Again, come on now, y'all. Big old props. Let's go. Let's get organized, okay? And then consistency. Can and will you easily repeat the system on a daily basis, right? And so the cool thing about systems, though, and I'll close this, is don't be hesitant to make adjustments to systems. I love that we do that. I think that's what keeps our team so strong. I think that's why we grow so quickly, is because we're constantly adjusting and maneuvering through that. And I will just tell you that keep it simple, right? Keep your systems simple. But I believe it. I believe our team is the most successful team in network marketing because we have the best systems.